What up, y'all? Welcome to the Iggles Landing Podcast, where you can get your Eagles and NFL news fix every hump day. We are live on YouTube every Wednesday night and available on iTunes and Stitcher. So if you follow or subscribe to us on any of these things, please rate, subscribe, give us feedback. That helps us out. Now, before we get into it, I gotta let you know, normally I have my homie, my sidekick here, and we're side by side talking with E-Rock on the other side of the country, but he actually got a new job, so he's not gonna be around anymore, but we appreciate all the input he's given so far. But don't be worried, we still got the homie E-Rock. Where you at?
What's up, what's up, what's up? What's going on, guys? It's your boy E-Rock here in Philadelphia, outside of Lincoln Financial Field, because I just got done wrapping up my YouTube video for my channel, youtube.com/, what is it? youtube.com/the mighty E-Rock. I'm sorry, I got my Facebook mixed up. I'm all scrambled up because I just got done doing my video. But I'm glad the bye week is over. I'm glad to be back with you, Delia, and let's do this thing.
I love that you're in front of the link right now. It's like, you're home. You're taking me back to when I was there, and I'm hoping to go back for another game this season.
Really, this season? You making plans or what?
This week I got a mobile app called Game Time sponsored my Cowboys video that I did on Sunday, and if I get a good amount of downloads, they might send me to another game. So.
Well, that would be amazing because I know
with my promo code PhilaDehlia.
Well, that would be awesome because last time you came here, we shut it down in the parking lot. The outcome of the game, if I remember correctly, against the same team wasn't exactly what we wanted, but we had a good time before the game. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a tough ending to an almost perfect day, but I've gotten over it, and now you said you're at the link. You seem a little hyped up, high energy, in a good mood now. So what was the kind of like, how did you do your video? Was it very like, are you optimistic? Are you kind of nervous? Or what's the deal? What's the mindset?
The weird part of it, and not that I don't want to like spoil it or anything, but I'm kind of low juice about this game. I mean, it's the Cowboys. Anybody that knows me on Twitter or has been watching me on YouTube knows that I cannot stand the Dallas Cowboys. But being as they're in the dumpster fire situation that they're in, and we're kind of in the situation that we're in, it's like it's not where it should be. You remember those days of Donovan McNabb versus Tony Romo, T.O. coming back to town, all that hype. Those were the Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles weeks. And this week it's just kind of like, whatever.
I think it's because we had that week off to relax. Maybe we got a little too relaxed, you know? Like, I'm just kind of chilling right now. I'm over the loss, our loss against the Panthers, and I'm just ready to move forward. And looking at this game and remembering the last matchup against this Cowboys team, the way I look at it is it can't get any worse than it was the first time. So
well, actually, Delia, not to disagree with you, and I know we got a little segment coming up, something about squashing a beef where we disagree. But I'm gonna start squashing it right now. I got to disagree with you because this Dallas Cowboys team is a dumpster fire right now. They've got Matt Castle in at quarterback. They just cut Mr. Too Much Meat on the Bone, Joseph Randall. Right now, they're a mess. So if we lose to this team or get dominated like we did at Lincoln Financial Field to this team, oh, Delia, it can get worse.
Well, I mean, that's always a possibility, but do you really think the Eagles could play as horribly as they did week 2? Considering the offense has had small strides, and the defense has been as consistent as it has. Do you really think that they could do that?
I think that with a week off, a week to prepare, and a week to get healthy, the Eagles will win this game.
There. See, we're on the same page on this one. That's no beef that needs to be squashed. But I'm squashing the beef. For those of you that saw the last podcast, and again, I apologize. Last week I was out. I was sick, so no podcast. But the week before, we had Chris Wessling from NFL.com, and I did my first segment of Squashing the Beef. Now I'm going to kind of re-explain what it is to those that missed that episode. And Iraq, was not there for that episode as well. So let me break it down. A little Squashing the Beef. I'm going to try and do this maybe once a month or so, but after watching Iraq's video for the last matchup, I had to be like, all right, we got to talk this out real quick. You know what I'm saying? So basically, Squashing the Beef is when, me as an Eagles fan and another fan, whether it's an Eagles fan or a different, fan base, where we there's this topic here or this subject here that we kind of see things differently, right? I'm on one side, you're on the other, and we talk it out and see if we can meet somewhere in the middle, or at least see each other's perspective to see how it makes sense. Because when looking from the outside, it doesn't make sense to the other person. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Yes, that makes sense.
Or am I just not making sense overall? Okay, so in this Squashing the Beef segment, it is on your, I think it was the Panthers pregame video. You had mentioned something, and I actually left you a comment on your video about this, about a little Sanchito action. You are kind of team Sanchito right now and wanted a little to push Bradford to the side and bring in our little sloppy seconds over here. Did I hear that right?
Well, Delia, to be fair, the bye week is a time for self-reflection. It is a time for enlightenment. And I hate to squash the beef, but the more I think about it, the more I realize that bringing in Mark Sanchez does us absolutely no good at this point. And that if anything, to be fair, and you Delia, you know how I feel about Sam Bradford. To be fair, we need to give him a full 16 games to see what he's got. Now, through the first 7 games, we saw what he's been doing, and it isn't all that impressive. He's proven to be nothing more than average. But let's say a blimp-sized light bulb, like this thing above my head, goes off above his head, and he starts playing at the level that we all thought he would during training camp. Here's the thing. From Eagles fans, I hear that we need to be patient with Sam Bradford. You got to understand something. We have a finite amount of games to make a decision on this individual, whether he's our quarterback moving forward, because we don't have him under contract next year. So we got to make a decision. And we can't make that decision unless we have a great sample size in front of us. And I feel like now, after some clarification and some, bye week reflection, that why not let the kid go ahead and give it a whirl?
Oh, so look at that. That was easy. That beef, squash. Real quick. That was easier than I thought. I didn't even have to say a word. I like this. I like this segment. But okay, so and you are making so much sense right now. I like it. Now, what got you to that place though, to actually think? Because there's a lot of fans that were in that same boat, 2 weeks ago, or even now, that don't have the patience.
Well, Delia, you and I have talked on previous podcasts about the eyeball test, and I am a firm believer in the eyeball test. And I saw from Nick Foles last training camp that there was something wrong with him. His head wasn't there. His footwork wasn't right. And listen, I'm not an X's and O's kind of guy. I'm not a guru. I don't know everything about football, but I know enough to be dangerous. And I saw Nick Foles, and I knew there was something wrong with him. In this year's training camp, I look at Sam Bradford, and he didn't look bad. And I tweeted this out, and I caught a lot of flack from it because all the beat writers were going on and on and on about Sam Bradford. I said he doesn't look bad, but he doesn't look great. Okay. And for this team to go 10 wins in consecutive seasons, and then for Chip to trade for his guy, and then in turn regress in the season, That is painful. Because I, like you and many other Eagles fans, bought completely into this. And all we want to do is see Sam Bradford be the quarterback that we all thought he was going to be. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. All right. See, I was ready to battle it out with you, but you're making 100% sense, man.
Oh, definitely.
You're throwing me for a loop here. But it's all good because we're on the same side. And that's the whole point of this squash the beef. Bottom line, sometimes it takes longer. Sometimes it's like instant, where you just got to hear the other person out and see y'all can be on the same page. And that was real easy. Now, since we're talking about quarterback and since we had the whole, trade deadline this week that ended yesterday, and of course, trade rumors and blah, 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 when it came to the quarterback and Kaepernick getting benched over there in San Francisco, what were your thoughts about that? Him being kind of rumored as a potential player for the Eagles.
Well, Delia, and before this battery completely drops out of my computer, I apologize. I don't know what's going on. It says I got like 3 minutes left with you. I do not know why, and I apologize. I'm in the middle of a road here. Kaepernick would be a very interesting prospect if signed in free agency. I'm a firm believer that you hold on to your draft picks like gold bullion. You do not let them go. I can't tell you how peeved I am or how peeved I know I'm going to be going into the NFL draft on day 2, knowing that in the second round we don't have a pick because we used it to get a 1-year rental quarterback that proved to be average. Heaven forbid we did the same thing with Colin Kaepernick. Now, hey, Robert Griffin III, Colin Kaepernick, if free agency comes and Chip wants to take a chance using only money to get those players, then hey, God bless. But no draft picks, no.
Yeah. When I saw the whole draft pick being thrown, I was like, no way. And I've never been real big on Kaepernick anyways. And then his whole kind of mindset and not being a great leader, to me, that doesn't fit really well with the type of player Chip Kelly looks for. So I never really gave it second thought. But I figured since we're talking about quarterbacks, since we had that whole Sanchez kind of thrown in there, figured I'd see your thoughts on it. But we see eye to eye there as well. So good. We are good to go. So let's get into just some normal Eagles talk now. Well, actually, the big news. Did you hear Riley Cooper cut his hair? Does that mean?
Yeah, if Riley Cooper wants to donate some of that hair over here, I'd be happy to take some of that, Riley, please.
Oh my God! Wow, that was perfect. Hey, I just say if it helps him run those routes a little bit better, or maybe catch a ball here and there, I'm all about it.
He's got too much Pert Plus on his hands. That's what's happening. Too much Pert Plus on the hands. He's dropping the ball.
Exactly. Those luscious locks were holding him back. So get ready for a whole new coop this week. That's all I'm letting you know. So, but also the exciting news is we have a healthy Eagles team. We got Kiko, D'Amico, and Aguilar set to come back. They've been practicing, and I'm excited to see all our boys out there on the field.
Here's the only thing that I'm worried about on the health factor for this team, and it's great to have all those players back. It's the offensive line. Jason Peters. What's going to happen with Jason Peters? Is he going to be able to play against a Greg Hardy and a Randy Gregory? And if I can compliment anything about that defensive line, is that they have talent. Not that talent aren't a bunch of scumbags, but they have talent along that defensive line, and it makes me nervous for Bradford.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes. Offense always makes me nervous. O-line, quarterback, those are always the biggest issues. But, I was actually, I don't know why, but I just feel so at ease right now. I don't know why. But prior to this bye week and us getting to rest and recoup, there was that little moment of panic, and people were freaking out about the quarterback, freaking about Chip Kelly and players that we had lost, and when I was just kind of reading some of the Eagles articles, I love Bleeding Green Nation, BGN, and they had done this article on The Departed. Now, I don't know if you saw this article or not, but basically it was kind of a update on players that Chip had let go this offseason, that were, you know, the big headlines, the big, like, I can't believe Chip did this thing. And kind of like an update of where they're at, where they are now in this season with their new team, and what the regret factor is. And so I wanted to see if you agree. I really agreed with what they said here and where these players are at. And for the most part, like, there's no regret with the players that we lost. You know, we had good times with them, but bottom line, you know, we moved on and they're not really excelling or, you know, doing better with these new teams. So I'm going to break it down one by one and see if you agree or not with what BGN had to say about this. So first of all, McCoy. And when it comes to regret factor, they said none. And he's now with the Buffalo Bills. He has been banged up for most of the season and has only been averaging 3.9 yards a carry and has yet to rush for 100 yards in a game. So where would you say you're at with the, I guess, regret factor on LaShawn McCoy, a big name that we let go this offseason?
Well, the LaShawn McCoy trade hurt a lot when it was first announced. And I'm glad you brought this up and go one by one. But let's take a collective look real quick before I address LaShawn.
Okay.
Our boy, Steve Bynum, who always watches the podcast, brought up a point and said, well, how are these players doing in other locations? And that comment stuck with me because I couldn't put it in the words then, but I'm going to put it in the words now. It is the James Jones effect. If you remember, James Jones was a wide receiver with the Green Bay Packers, right? Had some success with Aaron Rodgers, went off to Oakland, was nothing more than average. Cut from Oakland, goes to the New York Giants in their training camp, gets cut out of training camp.
Oh, I think we lost you. Here. So, all right. Well, we got to see him start, and he was bringing up a great point. But I guess what I'm going to do now is continue breaking down this, our former players, their current status, and the regret factor for each. And what I'll do is I'll let you guys respond in the comments. I see you in the comments, ECW and Damon and El Jefe with your little mustache. Hola, hola, from Columbus, Ohio. All right, so I see the comments. I have them over here on this side. So I will let you comment in what you feel about these players and what your regret factor is for them. And I'm going to just go through mine, and that's what we'll do. So shout out to E-Rock. Make sure you guys check him out. Subscribe to his channel. His video will probably be up tonight that he was filming at the link. And it is youtube.com/TheMightyErock, and on Twitter, TheMightyErock, and I think Facebook it's something different, but I'll put in the link below. So, all right, we talked about McCoy, and I agree 100%. Oh, I think he's calling. Hold up. Hello. Okay. Oh, you thought you were getting off easy. All right, guys. So E-Rock is on the phone now. So
certainly apologize for the laptop, my laptop falling out on the battery there. But I did want to make this point real quick, Delia, and I appreciate you having me on, and then I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
This one, and I don't know if Steve's watching right now, but this one stuck with me for a while. Getting back to it. So James Jones, success with the Green Bay Packers, goes off to the Oakland Raiders, doesn't do very well, gets cut, goes to the New York Giants, gets cut out of training camp, gets re-signed by the Green Bay Packers, and is off to a Pro Bowl-like season. So it's kind of unfair to take a look at these players in their new scenarios, in their new home, and seeing that the lack of success that they're having translates to them being on the Eagles when we knew that they were having career years. Macklin, Foles, LaShawn McCoy leading, the league in rushing with the Philadelphia Eagles. We knew that they worked here. That doesn't mean that they're going to work in other places, just like James Jones did. But if they were here home right now, I think we might be a little better off.
Gotcha. That's a really good point. And I agree with everything you said, and shout out to Steve Bynum for inspiring that point. But it's one of those things you can't predict, though, because not every player can do that. But But okay. I'm gonna take that, put in a little brain archives here, and I'll keep that in mind when going through these players. But I know you got to go. But we'll see you next week.
All right, see you next week, Delia, and let's go Birds.
Hell yeah. All right. And we'll be on the lookout for your video. See ya.
All right, bye.
All right. Well, he had to get that point out. And actually, that's a really good point. Now, see, the thing is, players, it takes some time to adjust, right? And a new team, a new scheme, and all that, that can definitely be a reason for a decline in a once, highly productive player, but also age. So some of the players that we're going to go through, it's just they're, 33, they're in their older, past their prime moments, that it's just kind of a time factor that you can't really stop time and stop the whole body decline, aging process. So, yeah, that's Steve Bynum. Are you on this thread? Because you're getting some shout outs today. No. All right. So we did McCoy. Now, see, McCoy, he's always been good with us, but we'll move on. We already kind of talked about him, but I want to talk about Macklin. Now, they said regret factor for Macklin, again, this is from BGN, was little. And now, meaning, we don't absolutely, need him, but it would be nice to have him. And I agree with that because our wide receivers have been so bad this first half of the season, that having another decent receiver would be nice. Not having to rely on Coop, that'd be nice, And the way I look at it, Macklin, he's a good receiver, not a great receiver. But ideally what the Eagles need is a great receiver. So yeah, Macklin is a little bit of regret. But Nick Foles, his regret factor is none. And the way they broke it down is he hasn't thrown for 200 yards since week 1. His touchdown to interception ratio is 6-5. Completion percentage is a career low at 58.8%. And he's 25th in yards per attempt. So, after week 1, people wanted to call Chip Kelly stupid and all that stuff and, set the city on fire. But we're seeing that Nick Foles, he has his moments, but he lacks the consistency to be that really great quarterback. And he's not getting those long yards, those passes. So I agree here as well. Regret factor is not really that big with Foles. But of course, I had that emotional tie where I thought he had the potential. And in the Eagles system, I think he could do better. But I still see some sparks in my phone is buzzing in Sam Bradford. So, I'm not tripping too hard off that. So now we have Todd Herman's regret factor none. And despite success in the previous years, at 33 and recovering from 2 injuries, he was in decline. And at the Colts, he was benched after 2 weeks due to ineffectiveness. And it's a similar story with Trent Cole, where both these guys' regret factor is none. Cole at 33 wasn't as effective as he used to be. And with $11.6 million against the cap, Eagles didn't see him as being worth it. So at the Colts, he's been a non-factor there as well. And we've seen the Colts really, really struggling this season. And it could be just the Colts poorly managing their team. But also, it's not like, wow, this superstar is now on another team. But the one player that they did have a regret for, which I know E-Rock mentioned and I've mentioned in the past, that the toughest pill to swallow when letting go one of our, big name players this year was Evan Mathis. The O-line has been one of our biggest struggles this season, and this guy definitely was a big factor. He could help us out a lot, but that's the only one that I kind of just, I wish he was still with us. And then lastly, we had Brandon Boykin, and it's kind of obvious that the regret factor for him is none as well. So, this is kind of like a little message for all the people that want to kind of say the grass is greener, or, Chip Kelly let all these guys go, and that's why we aren't having as much success or aren't getting the wins that we should. I don't see that being the case. And I really liked this article, how it broke it down, and E-Rock's point, the James Jones factor, it makes a lot of sense. Now, hey, you never know. Players could return, but I think where we're at, considering the defense, the improvement we've seen, especially in the secondary, like Brandon Boykin, he's a non-factor right now. There's no regret with letting him go, because this defense, this secondary is something that we've been waiting for. We finally have a solid defense that forces turnover. Malcolm Jenkins ranked one of the top safeties in the league, and it's more than we could have expected and more than we could have asked for in this defense. And for me, that's the perfect start, and the offense will get there. Okay, we can't expect it all to be perfect right out the gate right away. But the fact that we have something that's pretty close to being perfect on one side of the ball in the defense, that's a good start. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Now, oh boy, let me look at some of your comments, because now that I don't have somebody to talk to, I feel like I'm just going to be talking back and forth, or I'm talking to a wall here because I can't hear you guys. But you know what I do want to do? Because now that Philly can't join us anymore, I do want to have another third person. So if there's someone that feels that's in the Los Angeles area that feels they might want to consider doing a podcast, that knows their football and thinks they can bring something to the table, as a team member, hit me up. Shoot me an email. My email is delia@PhilaDehliaEagles.com, or you can shoot me a DM on Twitter. Hit me up on Twitter, and then I'll follow you if you're interested in kind of like trying out for the podcast or whatever. I don't know. I just feel like it's fun having 3 people. So I was talking to E-Rock, and he said he might have someone that would be a good fit. But you know me, I like to give people the opportunity to give their case and see if they might be a good fit as well. And then we'll just go from there. So that was a little random thing. And I got my crazy hair going on today. Don't mind me. It's been a long day. But all right, Damon. Let's see. What you got to say? He's struggling in the bushes. Okay. Foles has a much bigger sample size than anyone else. Okay. Definitely miss Macklin and Mathis. EJ. Eric. What up, Eric? Yeah, I would say those 2 guys are the ones that we could really use right now, considering the struggles we're having in our offense. No doubt. But think about it. If we had to give those guys up in order to get the secondary, that we have right now, I think it's worth it. To have a top tier secondary, something we haven't had in ages. Like it feels like we've never had a good safety since Brian Dawkins. So I think it's worth it. Hi, Luke Lisho. All right, we about to school you up in some football. How about that? Further AM, what's going on? Byron Maxwell. Connor Barwin is very disappointing. Aw. Yeah, I feel like maybe he's just getting outshined, But I wouldn't say disappointing. I think doing these superstar things as frequently as some of the other guys like Hicks. You know, I think it's easy to get overshadowed in this defense with so many superstars right now, just doing big things. And that's a good situation to be in. So, all right. Lions, Colts, and Chiefs took all of our players, says Further AM. Lions have taken 9 players from Kelly since 2012. Dang. And look where the Lions are at right now. All right. Anyone remember 2010 Eagles versus Lions? Was that the snowball? Was it? Was that? Oh, I love that game. Whew. All right. Aguilar back on Sunday. You know what? I just might have to wear my Aguilar jersey. Mr. Eric Tudor, twinsies. What's up, Paul Tafoya? So I was just finishing up some Eagles talk. Now, let's get into, we were talking about past players. Now let's get into just kind of the matchup this week, which E-Rock and I already kind of touched on, but I'm going to briefly mention it and then go into the NFL headlines and then peace out. So bottom line, Eagles have to win this game. Like, I don't care what they do. They can win ugly. They just got to win. And this team is just so unpredictable, right? And I was talking with my friend Calvin just before this podcast. He was saying to him, the Eagles are like a box of chocolate. You know, that Forrest Gump saying, you never know what you're going to get. And it's really the truth. This team could be so amazing, look so amazing, and could be any team in this league, but they could also lose to any team in this league and look just absolutely horrible like they did week 2. So it's the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde syndrome. And it's so frustrating as a fan to not have that pure confidence in a I'm hiccuping in a team. Oh, Luke, you think the Eagles need to give the ball to Marco Murray more often? See, I thought you didn't know any football. There you go. So just unpredictable. But in my mind, like, as the way I look at it as an athlete myself, it's just like I have to put myself in that mindset of just there's no way I can lose this game. I'm better than this person or better than this opponent, and at all costs, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to play scrappy. I'm going to fight harder than I've ever fought before, you know, and they really need to get their mindset together, especially Bradford in this offense. And I'm hoping this week off really allowed them the time to kind of get settled in their own kind of within themselves, you know, because it's kind of a personal issue that we're seeing with like the wide receivers, Jordan Matthews. Like, it's not a talent problem. It's just kind of this problem, you know, and God, why can't they just make it easy on us, guys? Why? I don't know. So they need to stop. They need the D to stop on first drives. That's true. We've been seeing offenses walk right through our defense on opening drives. Giants did it. Panthers did it. And those were 2 different outcomes in the games. But we need to start strong and finish strong. And we haven't been doing that. It's been one or the other. And I can't even think about, like, losing. It's not an option. It's not a thought. When it comes to Cowboys and Cowboys fans, shout out to all you Cowboys fans. You guys have been kind of my target this week, trying to get you all riled up, and it worked. But, you know, I normally just keep it analysis, and I don't really trash talk that much. But I was having a little fun because I knew the Cowboys fans would have a lot to say. And, oh, boy, it's just Just one of those crazy weeks, man. I don't even know what to do with myself. I want it to be Sunday already, really. So, all right. It looks like I have about 20 more minutes. So what I'm going to do is, for those that don't know, in this podcast, we start with Eagles, and E-Rock usually stays for the Eagle portion. And then when he signs off, I go into the NFL talk. So this week, since he kind of got kicked off early, I'm going to do just a few topics. When it comes to the NFL, like, I mostly focus on the Eagles because that's the team I'm obsessed with. But you have some of the big headlines, you know, some coach firings. Titans, they fired their head coach, Ken Whisenhunt. And I want to know, what do you guys think about that? Feel free to put some comments below. For me, like, I'm not a big fan of teams that have high head coach turnover, because those teams are usually just they're the bottom of the league type of teams. I think you need to allow your coach time to fail, especially when inheriting, you know, Whisenhunt inherited a crappy team, right? And I feel like they finally got the first piece to the puzzle that they need, and that first piece was their quarterback, you know, and they have a young quarterback that they can mold into someone really great. But that's going to be hard if you shake things up right away. So he has a year, you know, he starts out with this coach, and then he gets axed, and now he's going to have to start with a brand new coach and get used to that. But I feel a coach needs at least 3 years to really see if he's worth keeping around. And this is Whisenhunt's second year. So they didn't even give him a full 2 years. And to me, that's pulling the trigger too soon. But that's my personal opinion. So what do you guys think? Dave L says, I don't like firing coaches mid-season. Lurie would never do that. I agree. I think you need to, once you fire a coach, you're just pretty much trashing that season. You're giving up on it. You're saying that's it. You know, there's no hope. You may as well just play for a draft pick, right? And I don't think that's the right approach, because it's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? But let's see, who else? Remember the last time the Eagles played, Matt Castle, Chip Kelly kept Pooch kicking the ball on kickoffs? What? I'm not sure if I follow what Pooch kicking is, but can you please explain, Mr. ECW? So Dave L, Dallas has lost 5 in a row, so they're desperate. That's true. That's true. This is going to be a scrappy game. I think the Cowboys and Eagles, it's going to be scrappy. It's not going to be pretty. Whoever wins, they're going to be, oh God. It just stresses me out thinking about it. Like, I was so relaxed earlier, but now I'm like getting stressed. Okay, I don't want to think about it. I'm done talking about that game right now because it's going to stress me out. And Colts fired their offensive coordinator. Colts, man, they're struggling. They're really struggling. And, you know, I was talking just before this on another podcast saying that the Colts might get busted for hiding, Andrew Luck's injury. So apparently he had a rib injury, yet he was still playing. And to me, that says a lot about what's going on. Like, the lack of responsibility within this organization to actually let their star player, like, hide that their star player is injured so that they can play, and risk him getting further injured as a result. Like, that's just really irresponsible. And again, breaking league, you know, protocol and rules to do that. This team's a hot mess. And I think they've just given up, you know, the coaching staff. I mean, I guess that one makes more sense than the Titans. And then, let's see. They had an awesome kick runner. Oh, okay, I was like, Poocher. Oh, gosh. When Week 15 versus Minnesota, when Henry was forced to kick short. Oh. All right. So pooch kick is abnormally short. Got it. I've never heard that before. So, hey, thanks, guys, for letting me know a new term and some football. Pooch kick. That's just such a funny word, pooch. When I think of pooch, I think like a belly, like a pooch belly. Anyways. All right. So another thing I want to talk about NFL news-wise. Steve Smith and his torn Achilles. Oh, man, I just hate to see such talented players go down. And, you know, it was so sad to watch because he had his towel over his head. You knew he was crying. And, like, when you see a grown man, you know, grown athlete, like, just break down like that and cry, like, you know, that could be his career right there. You know, and he knows it. It's that breaking moment where you realize, like, this might be it. And a player that's just so, he's such a natural born athlete. Like, he's a competitor. He's out there, like, just raw, intense type of player. And I appreciate that, you know, because there's not many of those really just pure athletes out there. So I was happy that he was able to, I think he broke into the top 10, you know, all time that game, but it was nice to see him earn that, but it was sad to see him go down. So, you know, my thoughts go out to him and I hope he recovers, but just sucks. Another really just kind of scary injury that we saw this week was Ricardo Lockett. Now this, oh God, I hate these types of injuries freak me out. Like, I get chills. Like, my hair stands up and I'm just like stressing out because, like, he got hit and it didn't seem like anything out of the, like, it didn't seem like an overly aggressive hit. It seemed pretty standard, nothing too crazy, but like Lockett just dropped and like was unresponsive for a really long time. And it's just, all you can do is hold your breath and be like, hope he's okay. So, that's scary. I hate that type of stuff. But, you know, they carted him off the field. He did his little, you know, little L. I thought that was cute. And turns out he had a concussion. And I forget, is he out for the season? But, oh, man, these injuries are just kind of, we're at that point in the season. I mean, there were a lot of injuries. Le'Veon Bell, one of the best running backs in the league, is out now. So, part of the game, really. It's just injuries. Injuries. You can't really avoid it. And now we're at that part of the season where they've been playing every week and just their bodies are being just abused, you know, and eventually it gives out. And so, but luckily, the Eagles had time to rest, and they're not in that boat with all these injuries. And let's hope they stay that way. And let's hope Chip Kelly Smoothies and Sports Science keeps it that way. But last thing I really wanted to talk about was what up, Obey My Curls? I just saw your preview video this week for the game coming up. But last topic, Broncos beat Packers. Now, I want to know, who did you guys have in this game? Did anybody see the Broncos beating the Packers? I feel, actually, my dad, I'll give my dad a shout out. We were laughing because the Broncos offensively have been struggling, you know, and the Packers just seem so dominant. And so I thought the Packers would really take this one, but my dad thought the opposite. And he said if the Broncos win, I have to call him the most smartest man in the universe, or some weird thing just holding him on this high pedestal. So my dad is really enjoying that win, getting to feel very smart about picking the Broncos to win. But with this game, where does that leave you? You know, can the Broncos beat the Packers? Or not the Packers, the Patriots. That's what I want to know. I think they play at the end of this month. Broncos, Patriots. I sure hope the Broncos can beat the Patriots, but it's tough to say because Patriots have been so solid. So, you know, I don't know. But I think those will be the last two teams. Out of the teams that are undefeated, those are the top two that I see as being the really biggest kind of threat. You know, those are the real teams that we have to beat, that will have to be beaten in the playoffs to get to Super Bowl. So, yeah, I don't know. But I'm getting sleepy. Davel says, Broncos defense is awesome. How about the no defense Saints? Oh, yes, 52-49. Okay, I'm going to go out on this game because I'm running low on time and I'm getting a little sleepy. And I'm talking weird. That game, dude, all I can say is I'm so glad the freaking Saints pulled that off. I mean, these teams have no defenses, so they were just like, they were just scoring back to back to back to back. And those are exciting games to watch. And I was obviously watching it, hoping the Saints would come through. And when it came down to the kicker, you already know me and my anxiety when it comes to kickers. Like, I was freaking out, but they did it. So good for the Saints. I really do like them, their team and their organization. So as long as they're not beating my team, I'm cool. I'm cool with you. And as long as they're beating division rivals, I'm really cool with you. So anyways, all right. Well, I think that's it for this week. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, because this is a podcast. And remember, I am here with E-Rock and another mystery potential new guest or host every Wednesday, starting at 6:15 p.m. Pacific time, which is 9:15 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll be live on YouTube, but also you can just download on Stitcher, iTunes, and all that good stuff. So that's it. I'm trying to remember what my sign-off is for the podcast because me and PhilaDehlia used to do something different. But I think that's it. I do a little peace sign, and I'm out.